Let's talk about the bit of a reset, I think, going on in the world with COVID. I've been asking for it for a long time. I see in Europe, a lot of the leaders are now saying, we have to live with it. Boris Johnson said it. We have to live with it. It's not going away. Treat it like the flu. Some of the things they're doing in the UK, now that they're not doing anymore, they're ending mandated face masks, masks in school, that's gone. Work from home advisories, nope. Mandatory passports to get into nightclubs and large events. Legal requirement to self-isolate, no. They're getting back to normal. We should follow this, I think. What do you think?
Should I leave it to the congressman first?
I think we've been gradually transitioning to normal. I mean, the public health response has become less draconian and more measured over time as the pandemic has become more manageable, and that's because of the success of the vaccination campaign. The Biden administration has presided over the vaccination of more than 200 million Americans, which has been effective.
But now that, yeah, okay.
I'm done.
With this question?
No, I'm done with COVID.
Oh,
I'm done. It's
yeah.
like I went so hard on COVID. I
remember.
Sprayed the Pringles cans that I bought at the grocery store, stripped my clothes off because I thought COVID would be on my clothes. Like, I did it all. I watched Tiger King. I got to the end of Spotify. Like, we all did it, right? And
no, we didn't all do it.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of us did do it. And then we were told, you get the vaccine. You get the vaccine and you get back to normal. And we haven't gotten back to normal. And it's ridiculous at this point. I know that so many of my liberal and progressive friends are with me on this, and they do not want to say it out loud because they are scared to be called anti-vax or to be called science denial or to be, smeared as a Trumper. I'm sorry, if you believe the science, you will look at the data that we did not have 2 years ago, and you will find out that cloth masks do not do anything. You will realize that you can show your vaccine passport at a restaurant and still be asymptomatic and carrying Omicron. And you will realize, most importantly, that this is going to be remembered by the younger generation as a catastrophic moral crime. The city of Flint, Michigan, which is 80%, I think, minority students, has just announced indefinite virtual schooling. In the past 2 years, we've seen among young girls a 51% increase in self-harm. People are killing themselves. They are anxious. They are depressed. They are lonely. That is why we need to end it, more than any inconvenience that it's been to the rest of us. I think it's a pandemic. It's like, at this point, it's a pandemic of bureaucracy. It's a pandemic of bureaucracy. It's not real anymore.
Let's not forget that, the pandemic has left a death count of more than 850,000 Americans.
Well, that's a...
Yes, but it was yes, but Richie, it was a blunt instrument. Okay? If you look at who was affected by this, 803 children have died in the past 2 years. In the entire country from and with COVID.
I guess I offer a perspective. I was a New Yorker who lived through the early weeks and early months of the pandemic. And it was just a catastrophe for New York City, the likes of which we've never seen. We saw overflowing emergency rooms. New York lost more than 60,000 people. The Bronx alone lost more than 7,000 people, which is larger than the combined death toll of Pearl Harbor and 9/11. I saw mass graves in Hart Island in the Bronx. I mean, most New Yorkers saw a level of death and suffering we've never seen in our lives, and that's the source of the concern about COVID. I mean, I reject the notion that the response to COVID has been worse than the disease itself.
Well, I would argue with that. I mean, I asked for the COVID deaths by state. This is per 100,000 people. The worst is Mississippi. My home state of New Jersey, 4. Fourth worst. New York, 6th worst. West Virginia and Massachusetts are 10 and 11, right together. Could there be 2 states who are more unalike than West Virginia and Massachusetts? And the poster boy for keeping shit open was Florida. They're down at 17. So New York and New Jersey did worse than Florida. What I'm saying is...
Well, we did worse because we're a densely populated hub of international travel.
Well, so Florida should have done more. Florida is home to all the old people in America, so maybe they should have done more.
But the data is crystal clear, and this is beyond dispute, that the deaths and hospitalizations have been overwhelmingly concentrated among the unvaccinated. if you are fully vaccinated,
Yes.
you have a far lower risk of infection and hospitalization and death.
But that's not even the issue we're talking about now. We will get to that. What this is saying, it's Florida like stayed open. I mean, I was just in Florida. I've been there a few times since this started.
Half of New York has moved there.
The atmosphere is just different. I'm not moving to Florida. I'm not promoting Florida. I'm just saying AOC just went to Florida and had a good time without a mask hugging
like
people.
she was having a
okay?
blast.
Okay. I'm just saying, I've been to Florida. The atmosphere was just night and day from California, which was gloomy, and everything was, the Andromeda strain was out there, and you went to Florida, and I'm just saying, yes, there are different factors and different states, but basically, it's like they stayed open and went on with life, and they didn't do a hell of a lot worse, and maybe did better.